Well, I think we'll go ahead and get started in the interest of time. And since Beatrice, you have to, you can only stay on for 20 minutes. Like I said, since you heard what I talked about at the conference in Kearney, the first few slides will be familiar to you. Rural Futures Institute, we are one of 4 institutes at the University of Nebraska, and we harness the intellectual energy of the entire University of Nebraska system and its partners, and we want to use that to positively impact the future of mankind. And so whether that is with projects or with bringing teams of people together, collaborating with others, whatever we can do to help make that happen, that is our goal. Why inclusive community leadership? I talked a little bit about this at the Kearney conference, specifically about the 2 trends that as communities become more non-white, so it's anticipated that by the year 2030, 40% of Nebraska population will be non-white. And so that's an area that we believe requires us to say, how do we bring people together who are different? As diversity increases, there is opportunity for greater division. And so we want to create opportunity for that to not happen. So because of that, we feel it's a necessity to have inclusive leaders in order for us to sustain a thriving rural community. Our basis for existing is to help rural communities succeed. And in order to do that, we want to address the needs that rural communities have. I mentioned that there were 2 different competitive awards that collided together to bring our current fellows program. The serviceship experience that had happened from 2013 to 2018, and then the Rural Diversity Action Project, the course that Dr. Matkin and I created. And then what we did was we took that together and created our Inclusive Leadership Development Program. So here's what students are saying in regards to, oops, let me go back. In regards to what's happening in, I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry. It's not letting me. I think I have to stop sharing to bring up the video. What I'm going to do is just leave it in here and allow people to watch the video. But this is where students are talking about the impact of this on them and their development. So I will give you opportunity to just click on the link and watch that. Each of the videos I'm sharing are about 1 minute long. So the student video is about 1 minute long, and the Community Innovation Fellow video is about 1 minute long. What is exactly inclusive leadership? Well, we're in the process of doing the research on that. This is a model that I created coming from my research and years of experience in working with organizations to develop leaders. Leaders create an environment where employees feel like they can bring their whole self to work. So when belonging and mattering is high, this is what we see as being the outcome of it. That individuals feel like they can be themselves, they're included, that they matter, and that the leader understands how the differences that the team has as individuals makes the team stronger. So our purpose, this is where it's new content, Beatrice, from the information that I shared at the Kearney. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the group stages of group development, but when teams come together, there's a season of forming, then there's a season of storming, and before these teams create norms that they can then begin to perform. So our development of you as a leader, along with the students during our academy, is designed to help you to move through these stages so that once the students enter your environment, you hit the ground running with having some norms established and beginning to work on the projects that are identified. I'm not going to go a whole lot into this, but just so you know that we are intentional in developing you as a leader, as well as the students, and the time that you spend together to be successful and the most fruitful in accomplishing the projects that you've set out to do. So who are the individuals that are involved in this? Well, the communities, the community leaders that enter into this with us are called Community Innovation Fellows. These are individuals like yourself who have identified a project and a need, and you want to help, you need our help, or you want to participate to make your project come to fruition. The link that you see is for what those community leaders from 2019 have said in terms of both the development as well as the experience. The students, our students from any campus, they can be graduate, undergraduate. What we want to do is create a paid real life experience for these students in a rural community. RFI staff, what our role is to convene, support you, the Community Innovation Fellows, as well as the students, whether it's before helping you with creating your project design, what would be the areas that we could most help you with, during, if there's issues with moving projects forward, or you have concerns about what's happening in the situation with relationship with a student, or even afterwards, if you say, this is what we were able to accomplish during this season, but I think I need additional support, we can connect you with University of Nebraska system, faculty, staff, individuals, researchers who can help expand and continue to grow the project, continue to support you in your role and in your community. RFI faculty, that would be, at this point, just me, but hoping to have others to come along. What I do is to help develop you, coach you, and then also there's a research piece of this. And if you don't have to accept being a part of the research in order to be part of the fellows program, but just so you know, you will be given the opportunity to participate in research. How do we do this? Well, the application that I recommended for you to look at, both you, Community Innovation Fellows, and Student Fellows apply. We go through an interview process with communities to better understand the project. Are you ready in terms of, do you have an office? Have you thought about housing, funding, those kinds of things? So we help you to formulate all of that together. And then we bring the students that are the best match we feel for your project to you. And then what we do is we train you. We connect you, we train you, we bring you together for training, and I'll go through that specifically here in a little bit. We'll go through, we train you, and then twice during the 10-week period, there's coaching, individual leadership coaching, and then we support you in whatever way you need support. We're there to help you. We also, what we do is we've collaborated with the Bureau of Business Research at the College of Business to be able to evaluate the impact of this on the rural community, as well as on you, the leader, and the students. And so that's where the research comes in. That's what we want to find out is what's the benefit of this overall. Any questions so far?
So are the projects mostly, are they chosen if you're located in a rural community?
So we want to work with rural, but we have had projects that have come out of non-rural communities because they impact rural somehow. And so I'll tell you, in 2018, we worked with the Omaha Land Bank. Are you familiar with them?
Yes, a little bit. I've heard of them, yes.
Yeah. So we had students that went to the Omaha Land Bank because what they were doing was designing a process of addressing dilapidated homes in Omaha, that process could then be transferred, that knowledge, that expertise could be transferred into applying in rural communities. And so if there's a link with rural communities, that's what we're looking first and foremost to be able to partner with.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes.
So there's training that happens. I already talked about that. This is an opportunity for you to get training. Our training is valued at about $4,000 for the community leader as well as the student. There's two parts to it. There's the online mechanism that happens a few weeks before you come to Academy, and we call the in-person training, which is 2.5 days, the Academy. And this is where you're doing face-to-face, some of that team norming, you're forming, you're going through some of the values, the beliefs, how you work best together. You're going to be doing some of that with your team members. There needs to be 2 community leaders. So one will be the lead mentor, and then the second one will be a secondary. But both of the individuals that attend the training are the ones that are going to be helping the students succeed with the project that you have identified. In the coaching, use the executive coaching format in coaching you as a leader. So when we say coaching, we're not talking about there's something wrong with you, so you have to be coached. When we talk about coaching, we're talking about the fact that you are brilliant, whole, intelligent, innovative. There's something you want to accomplish, and there seems to be boulders standing in your way. And so you come to the coaching session with what you want to be coached on. The intention is to help you to begin to see it from a different perspective, asking questions to deepen the learning for you as an inclusive leader so that you can move forward with actions that you would like to move forward with. I've been trained in executive coaching and have about 25 years HR development, and which includes diversity and inclusion, and have done this for a number of years. So my approach is very much developmental. My approach is very much about understanding, helping you to understand what you can do to better succeed. Sometimes I've had community leaders bring issues with the student relationship or something along those lines as the agenda item for the coaching. And so we use that as a way to help you to grow, to better understand what's happening in the situation. I have been told by community leaders that coaching has been the most powerful piece of this for the individuals. And everything you say in the coaching is confidential. I don't share it with anyone. We also will come out to the community to spend a half a day with you and the students and provide clarification or connection to other university resources, to answer questions and to help you to begin to connect the dots between the training that you went through, whether it was online, in person, and what you're actually doing right now. The kinds of projects that we have gotten in have been a wide variety of projects. Teresa is available. She's our community engagement director and with us here at Rural Futures Institute. And so I will give Teresa the opportunity to take it from here. And then if you have any questions, Beatrice, Teresa is going to be the person that is going to best be able to handle the questions in regards to project, housing, funding, those things. If you have questions in regards to training, we'll go through those things that I'll answer.
Okay.
Teresa?
Thank you. I'm going to have to be leaving right now, but thank you so much.
Okay.
I will go ahead and try to find that email and get in touch with you all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, my apologies for taking so long to get back on. But, and Beatrice was that someone that's from Beatrice, can I guess?
No, she's actually with Boys Town in Omaha.
Awesome.
And so she had to leave early, but she's interested in the question she asked that I directed. She had not gone to the application yet to look at it. So I encouraged her to go to the application, print it out. But she had, the question was, do you only accept rural projects? And I explained to her regarding Omaha Land Bank that if it benefits individuals in rural, we're willing to take a look at it. So
exactly. And Boys Town is so spread out. They cover a lot of people from a lot of areas.
Right.
Well,
so I just got to this slide. So
okay, jumping back to project ideas, and I will assume that you haven't jumped in, but there's any number of areas that projects in the past, since 2013, have centered on. But each community either has probably already got some ideas about what areas of need they have within their community, or have some wishes of what they would like worked on. So at this point, this slide basically has some past experiences and also sort of a new focus with our release of our Thriving Index in terms of areas that we really are excited about doing additional work on within various rural communities. So you'll see across on the one side, the Thriving Index focus areas, and encourage anyone to go ahead and take a look at our website on the Thriving Index for more perhaps refinement in what they would could actually work on. But the areas that we are focusing on are educational skill attainment, basically either retooling for rural folks, basically tied to workforce development. There's a lot of different angles to that little statement, but each community already has assets in place, perhaps through our HOP programs, through SMC, or projects that there are also things that Extension has worked on within their areas. So the other items are infrastructure, the cost of doing business, always a very high focus. As you not only work to build the businesses in your community, but also attract new businesses. Social capital is a wonderful, broad statement that also can cover a lot of areas. And that is very different for each community in terms of what strengths they already have, what areas of need they have might be based on their population, on areas of growth, or depopulation. So the social capital is really a wonderful kind of big balloon that covers a lot of different types of projects. Economic opportunity and diversity, prosperity, growth, quality of life. Those are all areas that every single community needs to and would like to work on. If we go over to the other column, quality of life, we've recently had projects both in the mental health awareness and support, that was last year, physical health outreach and education a number of years ago. And that could be either projects tied directly to your health entity in your community, whether it be a hospital, clinic, a health like collaborative effort from a number of different communities. But it also could be something that's tied to schools, or it could be tied to projects that you have worked with different arms of the University of Nebraska. And then of course, recreation, that affects both tourism, but also quality of life. We've had a number of projects in that area as well. Economic opportunity. This is more specific to what our students have accomplished in the past. They are able to tap into the experts at the University of Nebraska, including Helen Fagan and others, in terms of surveying or how to design surveys or determine the plans that are needed to really carefully and thoroughly assess the needs based on your community's input. So whether it's focus groups, something like that, we have this opportunity for these students to tie experts in the state to your specific needs. So that could be a real wonderful way to help start your planning process in specific areas and really identifying the needs of your community from a community citizen viewpoint. The other items there are newcomer attraction retention. 2 years ago, that was a really wonderful effort in Seward, Nebraska and Seward County. Entrepreneurship, there's so many different factors, has always been on the list, and connecting people to resources. So that is one thing that the University of Nebraska can really provide, is not only experts in specific areas, but also people who know who else has expertise or perhaps assets to bring to bear when focusing on a specific area. Some of these community leaders may already be very aware of, and sometimes in some communities, there's just an idea or a need identified, and there's the next steps that need to be discussed. So we have lots of folks to turn to that can help bring guidance to those efforts, no matter where you are in that process and where your community is. The next slide, Helen, has a little bit more specifics that have been done. Students in the past have actually created actual strategic plans, working with communities or boards or specific areas. And they've also conducted feasibility studies. So again, it depends on where your community's at and where your needs are. But this opportunity is to get access to really wonderful, outstanding, fresh eyes that can come in and help you think through processes or planning situations to give you the best possible outcome with the most inclusive view of what can be done within the community. Housing needs, now this is not for students, but actually housing, which is such a huge issue in many, I'll just say the majority of communities, rural and urban. And there's also, before you can access a lot of outside funding for grants, there's many times a need for analysis, surveys, and that sort of thing. And our fellows in the past have completed those efforts as well for a community. Education side of things, they've in the past have collaborated, they could collaborate with your education resources there in your community, whether it's K-12 or beyond, and can also assist with summer programming. This has been done in a number of different areas, in a lot in terms of both specific areas of education, but also done in different ways across the state. And then last but not least, tourism, marketing, branding, and event planning. We have been blessed to have a number of students who are just exceptional. Many who that is a target in their end goal. And also listed here is Marketing Hometown America, which is of course a tool that was developed with RFI seed funding by Nebraska Extension, which is now in many states across this country, but is a way for a community to truly get the entire community thinking about what their assets are and how they could best utilize them. So there is a number of different outside tools that our students are made aware of prior to attending or jumping into your community, but also have the ability to check in and find out what's next in terms of how they can best address the needs at hand. So Helen, I think the next slide. And this is just kind of a wrap up. Our commitment to you, the Rural Futures Institute and the University of Nebraska, is that we will provide high capacity students that you will be amazed at. That is a standard answer from every single community that's ever participated, is that they wish they would have been perhaps better prepared. Now that didn't happen last year, because by including our community leaders in the academy ahead of time, the students and their community innovation mentors, their mentors, that team of fellows is really more apt to advance efforts exponentially, since they have been trained together and gotten to know each other in a very productive way. We also can help with project definition. If you have some needs or you have a number of projects, there's a couple of different ways we can do that. I'd be happy to visit with you personally. But then if there is a specific area of need, say behavioral health, mental health support, we have worked with communities in the past that are very active as well in different specific areas. So if your project is in a specific area, odds are really good that we can connect you with people that have had advanced experience in that specific project area. The number 3, which Helen has talked about, there's really no way you can put a value on it. And I'm sure she mentioned, I was part of that team 2 years ago when community leaders across the state said, I wish we could be trained as well, and could be better able to not only utilize the students, but progress our communities to the next level. So that right there, number 3, is that value is I think minor, because it is something that will continue to impact your work and your community ongoing. Just eye-opening experience. And number 4, connecting you with the intellectual capacity of the University of Nebraska. As we are all taxpayers, this is our University of Nebraska, and I'm putting my community leader hat on. There is there is expertise across the university that exists in large part to help and advance this state. And not just through educating our students, but also in any way necessary or possible to assist. And communities are just a perfect connection for us. So please feel free, if you read something and there's a name of or you read about research somewhere and it triggers a interest in you, please be sure and reach out. Helen, myself, anyone at RFI would be happy to help connect you because we really are blessed to have wonderful experts across the area, across the university. Your commitment to us is pretty simple. We need you to complete that pre-academy content. The 2.5-day in-person training and virtual coaching is really the amazing value that is placed and opportunity for you. The final presentation is already stated. I'm sure that Helen may have mentioned this. Jump in if you haven't. It's scheduled for July 31st. But also your commitment is to help support our student fellows as follows. Of course, provide an office space because it is a team process and you will want their energy and their involvement in many things that cross your desk, but also sharing resources in your network. You are also helping educate and helping these young students find their spot, and your network can really help them best utilize their gifts as they head to graduation or after graduation. Mentoring, encouraging, and developing. 3 different words because 3 different meanings, but that is your unique opportunity, and what our students really are looking forward to. And then also the creating opportunities to serve the community. That last one is something that we don't ask the students to commit to a certain service type of activity prior to joining the community, because things happen, and they really need to get to know the community before they identify the best use of their time and the best possible way to create progress within that community. Helen, jump in anytime.
I was just going to say that students are asked to work. We say it's 400 hours, but it's 10 weeks full-time. So they are colleagues of yours. That's how we want you to think of these students. They're there for 10 weeks. The students are told some weeks you'll work more than 40 hours. Some weeks you work less than 40 hours. So we want you to think of the students as, again, colleagues of yours who are helping you brainstorm and advance your project that you have. They're not interns. This is an elevated experience for students. So these students are operating at the level of fellow. So I can't stress this enough, in that you see them as a colleague, as someone that you are mentoring. They are emerging leaders. We are very intentional about the students' developmental readiness to engage in this type of work. So please keep that in mind as you think of projects that would be potential opportunities for students to participate in. I know that one of our communities in Chadron, for example, they had one item as the project, and they had a couple of other ideas of projects, but students ended up doing, I think, over 20 things for that community, including a mental health day, as well as getting coupons for mental health awareness. So it was just way broader than originally the Community Innovation Fellows thought it would be. So you're getting top caliber students. Think of projects, your dream list, basically. This is the opportunity to bring in innovation and tackle that dream list for your community.
And it's hard to put into words, but we hear oftentimes that what the students do provide, besides innovation, in addition to energy, in addition to incredibly desirable insight, they also provide some fresh eyes and an opportunity for the community to see itself differently. And we have heard that year after year, that the community leaders at all levels were able to see themselves, their opportunities and their challenges differently, because they had these folks, these fellows come in and help them see things differently. And we all need that a time or two, to just be able to sit back, assess, and realize the strengths that we all have. And that is really one of the unique assets and experiences that come out of this program. And it's priceless for a community.
Yeah. If you have any questions or need to reach out to us, our emails are listed here. Please feel free to reach out to us. At this time, we'll open it up for any questions that anyone may have that we could include in, since this is being recorded for others who may not be present currently, but would like to listen to this later. Are there any questions that come to mind for anyone that we could answer? Okay, well, thank you for joining us. Hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and we look forward to helping you with your applications and helping connect you with brilliant students who can help advance your dream and help your community to thrive. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.